They know the identity of the man behind a deadly mass shooting in the heart of New York.
Pure evil came to the heart of our city.
Authorities say the man in this photo is 27-year-old Shane Devin Tamura of Las Vegas. They say he's the man seen here walking towards 345 Park Avenue in Manhattan last night, in his hand an M4 rifle.
The shooter entered the lobby, turned right, and immediately opened fire on an NYPD officer. He then shoots a woman who took cover behind a pillar and proceeds through the lobby, spraying it with gunfire. He makes his way to the elevator bank, where he shoots a security guard.
Officials say the suspect, wearing body armor, then went to the elevator where a woman was getting out. He allowed her to get away unharmed. He then rode to the 33rd floor to the offices of Rudin Management, the owner of the building. There he allegedly walked the floor, firing rounds, striking and killing a woman, before police say he turned the gun on himself. Police releasing this image of the weapon. Workers inside the 44-story building were told to shelter in place, some using this office furniture to barricade a door.
We heard multiple shots go off in quick succession from the first floor, and a lot of us just rushed into the room. Some went out in the back door, out onto the street. Other people, including me, we ran into the conference room and then eventually barricaded the tables across the doors and just stayed still.
Police in tactical gear rushing in as terrified employees rushed out, their hands in the air. Some later embracing loved ones, grateful to be alive, while officers outside were seen here performing CPR on a man. In all, 5 people were shot. 4 were killed. 1 man was left in critical but stable condition. The NYPD officer killed was 36-year-old Diderul Islam. He was off-duty working security for the building. He leaves behind 2 young kids and a wife pregnant with their 3rd child.
He died as he lived, a hero.
Officials say the shooter arrived in the city just hours earlier after driving his BMW across the country. In his car, authorities say they found a revolver, ammunition, and medication. Police overnight descending on his home in this gated community in Las Vegas. Police there are telling the NYPD that Tamura had mental health issues but did have a license for his guns. An investigation into a possible motive is underway as authorities question why the office building, which also houses the NFL headquarters and multiple financial firms, was targeted.
So, Nora, I know you got a clip, so you've been following this story closely. Has there been any breaking news, or does that just about sum it up?
Well, I think the misinformation regarding this shooting was massive. And this is why I don't follow mainstream media. First, they said he was a white man. Then they said he might be black, it was like, then they tried to say he was like a pro-Palestinian person. And I mean, it was really ridiculous. They were just throwing everything at the wall and see what sticks, when really what it boils down to is the poor guy has a brain injury. And I'm not justifying what he did by any means necessary, but nevertheless, this is what I've been saying for the past year. NFL is modern day slavery. The NFL abuses these men. They have these brain injuries. They don't take care of them after. They overlook a lot of their concerns. And I think we're seeing an exploitation of that. And this is why he did what he did. Now, is that solely the reason? No, I'm not justifying him for doing that. But that's the bigger issue that they're going to try to gloss over and miss the point of, to focus on other things in this country like gun control and things like that, when we're missing we do have a mental health crisis, number one. And number two, these guys in playing football, they're getting these head injuries and no one's taking care of them. And we really need to look into more of that and making sure that they're being taken care
of. Mia, you're a bit two-way person. If you don't know what two-way means, that means it's for gun rights and gun ownership. Do you feel like, there needs to be more control over weapons? Because they basically said in New York, he couldn't purchase the gun, so he had to go somewhere else. So how do you feel about
that? Well, I feel like that almost, so I am very 2A. I'm pro 2A. That is our Second Amendment. We do have the right to bear arms. That is what separates us Americans from other countries, is the fact that we can protect ourselves against each other, but also against our own government if need be. And to be honest, New York's gun laws will be looking a lot different because they lost a Supreme Court case, because the Supreme Court told them that they are infringing on their own constituents' rights in that state. But I digress, to be honest. A mental health problem is a mental health problem. The British have the same level of violence there. They just use knives because they don't have access to guns. They also, too, have a mental health problem. The gun isn't the issue. The issue is this man was very ill and he had what we could surmise was CTE, potentially. If somebody wants to commit a crime, they're going to commit a crime. They're going to utilize whatever they have within their means, whether it's a knife, whether it's a gun, whether it's a club, a machete, whatever. They're going to use what they have. So we can't really blame a gun when it's a person that's mentally ill behind it. We got to take care of the people.
Okay. Annika, do you feel like, there's too many mass shootings in America? We have to change something, that this can be changed? Or do you just feel like, it was mental health crisis? How do you feel?
Respectfully, I went into this podcast in good faith. I was told there would be one topic that wasn't the topic we began with. It seemed like that was a disarmament tactic. That feels dishonest to me. So I'm going to excuse myself because I don't want to be on this platform.
Okay, bye-bye. God bless. Have a good night. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.
Okay, then.
No way. Did this really happen in real life? No way.
That just happened on live, yo.
Everything's about race with the liberals, and this is why no one takes racism seriously, because it's all about race. Everything is about race in America. It's all racism, and we were being racism against her, and she's white adjacent, but we were still being racist.
Oh my God.
Enzo, how do you feel about it? Go ahead, Bill. My bad.
I was going to say God bless to her. May she have the date she deserves.
Yeah. What topic was she talking about? The main event?
Yeah, because we were talking about.
Oh, okay.
Because you didn't give her the list of topics, but I don't see what was wrong. We let her give her point. We allowed her to circle back. We usually don't do that. So, I mean, I don't know. And I actually was going to add to say I agree with her point. I got where she was coming from. But for me, I think that this is a race baiting thing. And I even said both sides do it. So I don't know why else she would have felt uncomfortable.
That's a Kodak moment. That'll be.
Yeah, we're going to have to definitely flip that.
Enzo, what do you think?
So when it comes down to the shooting at the end of the day, just based off of the video that you played first, that they said he walked in there with an M4. It's not an M4. Gray, you know this. An M4 is a military weapon at the end of the day. An AR-15 is not an M4 because it cannot fire fully auto. So let's be honest, WC. Stop pointing it the way that you want to point it, because we know your constituents, the Democrats, want more gun control at the end of the day. This is, like I said last night, I'll go into a little bit more tonight. The problem in America is not the guns at all. I have 3 of them within a arm's length of me. None of them have jumped off my desk or out of my safe and harmed anybody. They never will. The gun is not the problem. It is the person behind the gun. I advocate for stricter background checks, 100%, mental health checks, 100%. I lived in Florida, where it's literally the Wild West. You could have anything and everything you wanted at the end of the day, as long as you can pass the background test. I think there should be mental health checks, even when you have your weapons, every X amount of years, every 2 to 5 years, to show that you're still mentally sane to still have weapons at the end of the day, because it is a privilege that can take somebody's life away in the snap of a finger, that you're holding in your hands, that you're keeping on your side, that you're keeping in your home. If you can show that you are proficient with it, that you know how to lock it up correctly, that you can keep yourself safe with it, by all means, everybody and anybody should have one, with the mental health backgrounds at the end of the day. I'm somebody who advocates for that, because I go to therapy once a week, every single week, because not everybody needs help at the end of the day. Everybody's got their own mental issues going on. It might not be to the extent of CTE or any other mental illnesses or anything like that, but everybody needs help. That's why I advocate for mental background checks and mental checkups for anybody that has 2A, because the number one unaliver in America is self-induced unalivings at the hands of firearms. We can prevent that if we give these people the correct resources to help themselves. So gun violence goes down. So mass shootings go down. The simple answer is, let's just take everything away. Let's just take it away. That's not what the Second Amendment stands for. No, that's the cheap option because they don't want to help. And this goes for both sides of the spectrum, Republican and Democrats at the end of the day. Nobody wants to fund this. Nobody wants to pay for it. So that's what I advocate for. That's absolutely what should happen at the end of the day when it comes down to it, in my eyes.
Well, lots of y'all brought up CTE, so I'm gonna play this video. Have RJ and Slim respond about the CTE.
Study my brain. Those are the words that were scribbled on a piece of paper by this person. He opened fire inside a New York City office building, and that shooting left 4 people dead, including an NYPD officer. 27-year-old Shane Tamara from Las Vegas appeared to have targeted the NFL headquarters on Park Avenue in Manhattan, but he went to the wrong floor. But that did not stop him from opening fire, fatally shooting 4 people before turning the gun on himself. Police say that he was found with a note claiming that he suffered from CTE, and this is actually part of that note. Now, Tamara has a documented mental health history and played football in high school. And in the 3-page scribbled letter, he reportedly accused the NFL of covering up the dangers of CTE and even wrote, "I'm sorry," right there. So what is CTE? It's a brain injury that develops in people who suffer repeated impacts to their head. It causes neurodegeneration, which is when the nerve cells in the brain are permanently destroyed, and that damage can cause changes in behavior and mental abilities like memory problems, trouble focusing, mood swings, and aggressively violent behavior towards themselves and others. The major issue for treating CTE is when a doctor can diagnose it. It can only be diagnosed during an autopsy when the brain tissue is examined under a microscope after the person is dead. Now, this is probably why the Manhattan gunman shot himself in the chest rather than in the head. Typically, the illness is linked to football players. Now, since 2008, Boston University's CTE Center studied 376 former NFL players' brains, and out of that 376, 345 of them were diagnosed with CTE. And now, some of the players that have been diagnosed with CTE include Aaron Hernandez, Terry Long, and Philip Adams. All of them took their own lives. Hernandez and Adams even killed other people. The NFL has come under fire for downplaying the connection between football and CTE. They did implement new rules, including making it illegal for players to ram other players with their helmets. The NFL has independent neurologists who are meant to evaluate players for head injuries, and the game comes to a full stop if a runner's helmet comes off. Now, however, experts say the NFL is not doing enough. They say CTE doesn't happen due to isolated incidents of concussion, but rather smaller repetitive blows to the head over months and years. Plus, players that are starting to play tackle football at a young age have a greater chance of getting CTE. So, could the NFL protect future generation of football players? Or is it like this shooter allegedly claims, still trying to protect its bottom line?
Slim, you're a big NFL fan. Is CTE a problem?
I'm going to say yes to CTE being it a problem. My nephew's in the game. Y'all know that. I support him to death. What I must point out, and Nora probably going to hate me for this, but I'm going to call on anyone to tell me what NFL team this man played for. I'll wait.
It was from the hits that he took trying out. I think he tried out. He didn't make it. But
Right.
he didn't play.
So at the end of the
But he
day,
from all the hits he got.
right. So at the end of the day, the media is focusing on something that the NFL had an issue with with this mental situation. But I don't believe I don't believe that was the motive. I believe he didn't make the fucking team, which caused him to go crazy. Excuse my French, damn, I forgot we're on YouTube. But which caused him to do what he did. And yes, it's mental health. It has nothing to do with the NFL. He didn't make it. So you can't blame the NFL. If he played for 5 years and this happened, we have an argument. But bro, you didn't make the team. So let's be honest. You were mad. Period. I don't see any other way out of it because if he didn't play for the NFL, how can you claim the disease? How can you claim that?
For sure. RJ, I think you said in the comments you're not a big sports fan before, but I know you say you go to school for history. So do you feel like history is showing that CTE is being caused by the NFL, being caused by football?
I would say that it's kind of is. I agree with Nora in this because you've seen a lot of these NFL players go and play and they get hit hard in the head, and if this guy didn't get accepted in the NFL, it still shows like the product of what the NFL like produces, you know, in terms of the playing and all that stuff. And as Nora says, like, and many of you guys said it, mental health is very severe. I don't blame the gun ownership or anything. Like, defend yourself by any means necessary. But mental health is a severe thing, and that the CTE is like for sure an important thing to deal with, especially in the NFL. So if this guy did not get into the NFL and he's mad, then of course he's mad, but it still sparks an important conversation.
Well, I wanna add to that because it's crazy how we could just talk NFL. If that was the case, UFC should be under fire, the boxing world should be under fire, wrestling should be under fire. All of these are contact sports that you can get hit in the head, you can get slammed on your head. Boxing, you get punched in your head all day. Muhammad Ali got the disease from that. But nobody's saying that could be caused by these sports. It's just football with the equipment on, just football. Nobody just thinks that's kind of weird.
That makes sense.
It's not just football. I would say it's all those sports as well. Like, I've seen boxing many times, and it hurts. Like, this is like bloody things, and I think if you're like trained, even if you're trained well and you've gone through all the preparations, it still hurts, and it still can affect you. So I think for players who are into these types of sports, just need to be aware of what they're getting into. Because this is gonna mess them up for the rest of their life.
Right. And my point is, if you're gonna do it and blame the NFL for contacts to the head, do it and blame every other contact sport. Just make it an all-around board. Don't just blame the NFL. That's where I'm at with it.
I agree with you, son. When it comes down to like football and everything like that, I hold CTE at like a high regard because somebody who is a close family friend of mine growing up to my family is actually my brother's godfather, Junior Seau. Played in the NFL for many years. Started out with the San Diego Chargers. Sorry, thinking of baseball for a second, and played for the New England Patriots. He shot himself in the chest to donate his brain to study the brain for CTE for the future generations. I remember that like it was yesterday, and that was a part of his suicide note, that he wanted them because he knew that he was being affected by his years in the NFL. That's why I'm speaking on it. I know it's all contact sports, but that's the most notorious one that I know of, and why I hold it at a high regard. And all contact sports just should be held to a high regard to actually save and help out the younger generations coming up, so they don't have to suffer from things like this.
Is that the guy in the movie with Will Smith? Is that the same guy that you're talking about?
I don't remember
Seau?
movie.
In that movie. Oh,
Nah,
okay.
he passed away a long time ago, right?
Yeah, I think it was 2015. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wait, wasn't? No, I'm sorry, 2012. Sorry, I was a freshman in high school, and I remember it. I remember getting home from school.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Well, Enzo, this is actually the news that you broke yesterday on the new party about the earthquake in Russia. So I'm gonna